And welcome back to Sports the Nemo Way, where today we will be discussing Gary Payton, the Glove, who will be defended by Drew, Ray, and myself. So we'll just go over Gary Payton real quick and move right into the arguments. The 6'4", 180-pound point guard who's a one-time champ, zero-time MVP, 9-time All-Star, 9-time All-NBA, with 17 years in the league. He was the number 2 overall pick. He has been inducted into the Hall of Fame with career averages of 16, 4, and 6 on 46% shooting. And I will kick it over to Ray to start off the argument.
All right. First off, we're going to talk about the lost art of trash talking. In today's game, you get a foul when somebody flops so hard you would have thought the other player brought a gun to the game and shot the other player. I think you also get a foul if you tell the other player you're getting a little chunky around the waist. There's a whistle sound. But back in the day, one of the best trash talkers is Gary Payton. He talked about your mama. He talked about your kids, your wife. It didn't matter. Nothing was off limits. You're thinking why I would bring this up. I bring it up because trash talking brought competitive atmosphere to a whole nother level. It's a way to amp up yourself. Get into the other player's head. Not only he backed up the trash talk. And not only did he back up the trash talk, we all heard of Lob City as well. Him and Sean Kitt was probably the first Lob City. Let's be totally honest. The up-tempo, high-flying, exciting offense. Besides the offense, which he is 10th in assists, 35 in points, he is also one of the greatest defenders of all time. Lockdown, gritty, active hand defender. The only point guard, I might be mistaken, but I think he's the only point guard to ever win Defensive Player of the Year.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And I think that says a lot among the players that he had to guard, like John Stockton, Michael Jordan, Reggie Miller, just to name a few. So being 4th on the steals list means he was in your face every night. Also a tough-ass player, only missing 27 games in his career, when most players today will miss that many games plus in a season. And with all that said, that's why I choose Gary Payton on my top 50.
All right, Ray. I like your colorful trash talk stuff. I like it. Do Doug or Wade want a rebuttal before I move to Drew?
No, you guys can go. Unless Uncle Doug wants to go.
No, that's all right. Go ahead.
All right, Drufus.
I'm just kind of the same stuff just to get started with what Ray said. Gary Payton accomplished some stuff that other point guards really haven't accomplished at all. He's got 9 all-defense teams. I don't know many other point guards besides Walt Frazier. Wade talked about the other day about him. But other than that, Gary Payton's got that. Like Ray said, he's the only point guard with Defensive Player of the Year. So, and he's got good points. 6 assists. That could be a little bit higher as a point guard, but that's not bad. It's not bad. But that's all I've got right now.
All right, Drew. Thank you. Again, Wade, Uncle Doug, do you want to have anything to say before I go?
I was going to let all of you go.
Yep, that works.
All right, then. Well, the first thing I was going to say in my argument, Ray already said, he's the only point guard in NBA history to win Defensive Player of the Year. He won Defensive Player of the Year in a big man-dominated award, especially in a era where it was maybe the strongest big man era ever. Just a couple other things, talking about his defensive acumen. Payton's 9 all-defensive first teams are tied for the most in NBA history. He has 9 all-defensive teams, and they're all first team. In 17 seasons, like Ray said, he only missed 27 games. He's 40th all-time on the scoring list, 3rd among point guards. He's 10th all-time in assists, 4th all-time in steals. He's 5th all-time among point guards for all NBA teams. And my last thing here for my opening statement on Gary Payton is just an interesting little tidbit here. From 93 to 03, so a 10-year span, Gary Payton averaged 20 points per game, 8 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, on 47% shooting. During that same exact 10-year stretch, he was an All-Star 9 times, All-Defense 9 times, and All-NBA 9 times. That is a ridiculous 10-year stretch. And that wraps up my opening statement on the glove.
Okay.
So Wade and Uncle Doug, I don't know which one of you want to go first.
I can go. This is just trying to think off the top of my head. Besides him and Stockton, who were the other really good point guards when he was playing? Does anybody remember?
We had Mark Jackson.
Probably Rod Strickland.
Yeah, Rod Strickland.
Was a young kid was around.
Kid
Oh,
came
yeah.
in the league in, 94, 95?
Yeah, so young kid.
Yeah,
was around.
young kid.
I was having trouble thinking of the other point guards in the NBA at that time.
I feel like we're missing some here. Who would have been?
Kevin Johnson.
Kevin Johnson,
Kevin
yeah.
Johnson was a good one.
who was the Bulls one?
Ron Harper.
Ron Harper.
He was a beast before he got to the Bulls.
Yeah, he was. I feel like we're forgetting somebody though. I feel like
I know.
there's
That's what I was struggling over here when we were talking about like all NBA teams and stuff, and I was like, besides him and Stockton, who else was battling it out?
God, who was on the Lakers at the time? Oh, Nick Van Exel.
well in the
Yeah.
the
Wasn't that era?
90s he would have been there.
Yeah, that's when Van Exel was playing.
The Jet on the Rockets.
Yeah, Kenny the Jet was on the Rockets. Yeah, when they won their championships. Avery Johnson
Yeah.
would have been the Spurs point guard. Yeah.
I mean, I was just curious. I was trying to think of the point guards. in
I'm
the
sure
90s.
we'll
I
remember
was
some more
struggling.
as we go through the
Yeah.
episode. Somebody will be like, "Hey, so and so,"
Yeah.
like what?
Yeah, it'll come. As far as Gary Payton himself, I mean, I don't think he's a bad pick at all to put on your list. Obviously I don't think any of us will try and debate his defensive ability. That was pretty off the charts. My thinking was at the bottom of the list there was I have Frazier and Westbrook. Obviously, stat-wise, Westbrook kind of gets everybody. We've talked about that. And then with him and Frazier, I thought they were very similar. Both all-time great defenders at the point guard position. Both good offensive players in their primes. And then you kind of have the one played on a better team, had team success, won championships. One probably he did play on lesser teams, but probably had the ball more, shot more, got more opportunities for stats. I went the championship route, but I mean I can understand the Gary Payton route as well. That was my thinking with Westbrook and Frazier over Gary Payton.
I think you all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we covered that pretty well during the Frazier episode.
It was either him or Westbrook.
We talked about Frazier Payton versus each other pretty heavily
Yeah.
in that episode.
I think it was
think.
Frazier because I was trying to
Yeah.
be careful. I don't want to say too much because I have
Well,
both of them.
I
on
looked
the
up
list.
this big article on the all-time greatest defenders, and it broke it down to like positions and versatility, and at point guard it was pretty much all about Gary Payton and Walt Frazier with a couple honorable mentions in there, but those were the main two. If they talked about Gary Payton being able to clamp down on some of the best guards in the league, and Walt Frazier, his stealing ability, I guess, was crazy, even though they weren't able to track it for a while, I don't think.
They didn't have steals until his last few years in the league.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
even as an older, getting ready to retire guy, he still averaged like I think over 2, around 2. But apparently that was his specialty. Was he had extremely quick hands and was very good at taking the ball without getting reach calls and staying in front of you. While Gary Payton obviously is called the glove, so he suffocated you. But anyway, that was my thought process. And then I'll kick it over to Uncle Doug.
Yeah, I looked at my last two as well. Westbrook, again, like you, and I had Bob Cousy down at the bottom as well. Assist-wise, they're both quite a bit ahead of him, both quite a bit ahead in rebounds. Of course, Cousy, you don't have the steals. Westbrook's close. Points, they both scored quite a bit more than he did.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt. Are we talking per game or career?
Per game.
Okay.
Because if you look at the career stuff, we've had this discussion many times about totals. Peyton does end up like 40th on the point, but if you look at average, he's 208th
Mm-hmm.
because he played over 1,300 games.
Yeah.
So that helps. That definitely helps the career totals a lot. So that was kind of my thinking. I was looking at Westbrook and Kuzi down at the bottom. After we get through this first kind of initial round, I have a question I think that we need to discuss, and it's not. I'm not picking on Payton. I'm not picking on anybody with this. It's just because we got Payton this week, and we got Rodman coming up, and we had Frazier not long ago, and I think we need to kind of talk about the all-defensive team. How do they pick the all-defensive team?
It's voted on just like the All-NBA team.
Yeah.
Okay, so who votes?
Is it writers?
I believe, yes.
Maybe we should double check this. We all seem
Yeah.
to be.
Because I mean that was just one of my questions. Because I was thinking I got to looking at when I was looking up his steals. I'm thinking when I think all defense, I think especially with a point guard, I think steals.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Total steals are like 24-45. He's like fourth. Again, that's partially a product of the 1,300 games. So I started looking at average steals. His steal average per game was like 1.8, which is 29th.
Mm.
Okay, so I got to look. He was tied with two other guys, Ray Williams.
I don't know what that is.
I don't. I remember Ray slightly. The other guy he's tied with is Baron Davis.
Oh, okay. That's not what I expected you to
so
say.
I thought, well, let me take a look at Baron Davis. Assists-wise, Baron Davis. All right, let me get these numbers straight here. He, of course, doesn't have as many because he played a lot fewer games, but they're right there together. And rebounding, 3.9 for the glove, 3.8 for Davis. Assists, the glove had 6.7, Davis had 7.2. Obviously, steals, they were the same, 1.8 apiece. And 16.1 to 16.3. I mean, if you look at their stats, they're almost identical.
That's an interesting comparison. I didn't think about Baron Davis.
And so then I got to thinking, well, I don't remember Baron Davis. I mean, I remember Baron Davis, and I remember him playing at UCLA and being a decent, but I didn't have the respect for him that I've got for Gary Payton. I mean, I think a lot of Gary Payton.
Mm-hmm.
And so that got me thinking about the all-defensive team and how do we do that? Because I know we're going to talk about it with Rodman.
Oh, yes.
And we talked about it with Frazier. And I'm like, well,
We did talk about
Do
very
you-
first episode with Kawhi, so I mean,
yeah, that's true.
Do you think all defensive teams are all mainly I'd say all defensive teams are kind of like a similar like Gold Gloves in MLB where you probably earn a lot of them, but then you probably get a handful out of reputation.
I don't know. That's I never really thought about it before.
I mean,
so
I'm not necessarily saying that about Gary Payton specifically. I'm just in general asking.
once you get a couple, you're like, hey, there.
He's more like Andrew Jones in baseball. He used to be phenomenal. Then he got fat and slow, but still won like 3 more Gold Gloves.
right.
So like, I wonder if it's the same thing.
I think
in
most
basketball.
awards are that way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And I think we could put all NBA under that. Like guys at the end of their career win all. Like, not that I'm picking on them either. I mean, I have them on my list very highly. But like Duncan and Kobe,
Especially Kobe.
they made all NBA and all defensive teams at the end of their careers,
Right.
and they weren't nearly the player they
That
used
they
to
were,
be.
yeah.
You know, they're on year 15 and 16 and winning all NBA and all defensive
Yeah.
teams.
Phil Jackson even said in his book, Kobe quit playing defense after like year 5. Like, I mean, obviously in spots he could still lock in and get you
when he
but-
wanted to.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. That is a tricky conversation. It is kind of especially.
I'll be 100% honest with you. I was still trying to figure out who votes on all defensive teams, so I only heard part of what you said. I also think, you know, we have I don't remember Baron Davis as a defender that much. But like we just talked about Allen Iverson in the Harden episode and how piss poor of a defender he was. But he led the league in steals like 3 times.
He did actually.
Because steals are not very indicative of being a good defensive player because they, you know, a lot of guys just play the passing lanes and aren't actually guarding anybody.
Well, and I think in his Hall of Fame speech, Allen Iverson admits to being terrible at defense, so he chose to just play the passing lanes so he could get turnovers because he wasn't very good. He was undersized, so people would pick on him. So he just chose
Absolutely.
to do the passing lanes. But I don't know. I mean, it is tricky. I mean, I thought Gary Payton was a really good defender in his prime, but I obviously didn't watch him a ton.
I agree. I mean, I think he was a great defender.
Mhm.
But I guess I just wanted to have the conversation in general because I know we're going to be bringing it up a lot.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, maybe we need to go into a little more depth than how do you measure all defense?
Yeah, I was about to say, how high are we putting him up? Like,
Yeah.
get so many. Like, is it how good of a thing is it to be all defense that many times? Like,
Yeah,
I know obviously it's good,
tricky.
but how high are we gonna like rank him for getting?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's something I guess you kind of got to think about for a little while before I can give a specific answer. But
I don't really have a straight answer, but I also think like partially it could be a slippery slope for us because if we discredit all defensive teams, then we'll have to discredit all NBA teams, and we've had whole arguments based on all NBA teams.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying
yeah.
we should discredit it. I'm just wondering, because, well, you know me, I'm a stat guy. I like numbers.
yeah.
And so that's why I was looking at steals. I'm thinking steals or blocks. If I think like a big guy is really good on defense, I think about blocks.
I do too.
Point guard, I think about steals. Turning a guy over. But again, you're right. You make a good point. Some guys do just play the passing lanes and are playing for that and don't necessarily. They don't lock their guy down. But they're picking up steals in other ways.
Well, I mean, I don't want to give away too much because we're going to talk about it next week. But Dennis Rodman is considered one of the greatest defenders of all time, and his steals and blocks numbers are terrible.
That is correct.
He gets no steals and no blocks.
Well,
Yeah.
that was another reason why. Because I had the same when I was going through that numbers too. I'm going, wait a minute, I've got to have something to grab on here.
There are also some players that play kind of different kinds of defense, like trying to think, like a Rodman. Well, he was kind of versatile. I'll use someone else. Like, okay, Draymond Green in today's NBA. You can't necessarily tell him, hey, go lock this guy down. But he's a great team defender, which is different than a guy you can say, Kawhi, go shut Luka down for a quarter so we can win Game 7. That's two different kinds of defenders and types of defending, which probably lead to different steal rates or block rates or whatever. I mean, so it gets tricky. Guys have different specialties and better at different things. And
I agree, and I'm not trying to interrupt, but I finally found what I've been looking for for 10 minutes. The all-defensive team is voted on by 123 sports writers.
So it's sports writers.
Yes. There
Is
are
it 5 on first team, and is there a second team?
Yeah,
for
it's
it too?
first and second team on defense. There is no third team like an All-NBA.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, we don't have, not that we're talking about it, but we don't have the current All-NBA teams. They haven't been released yet. This season, so they haven't been released yet.
this will be a tricky year. A lot of injuries in a shortened season, and it'll be a weird All-NBA and defensive team.
I agree. I was just listening to people debate who they're going to vote for all this, like all their awards. And one of them was trying to make the case that, okay, if you play too few games for MVP, that doesn't matter for All-NBA. And I was like, why? If you miss too many games for me to vote for you for MVP, then you miss too many games for me to vote for you for anything else.
It's just people not wanting to tarnish LeBron's All-NBA streak.
Yeah,
There it is.
That's what it is.
That's what it boils down to.
People don't want to insult LeBron by putting him on third team or not putting him on anything because he's LeBron, but he missed
A bunch of games.
20, 25 games maybe.
Oh yeah, he missed a
Of
chunk.
the what?
Um,
50, 60 they played?
They played 72
72
72,
games.
I think.
72. Well, here's the thing. I'm not trying to make this into a LeBron argument, but that's far enough away. We can talk about it a little bit.
Yeah.
But only 2 MVPs in the history of basketball have missed more than 10 games in a season.
I heard this too.
Yeah.
One of them is Bill Walton,
Right.
who did it in like 77. If I'm off by a year, I apologize.
Didn't they say that all the
That was-
candidates
yeah,
that
like,
year
that's
missed
all
time?
all 5 MVP candidates, like 5 guys that had big seasons that year, missed considerable time. So Walton ended up winning. And then in 2001, Allen Iverson missed 11 games
Yeah.
and
That's not that big
won
deal.
MVP. So those are the only 2 times. But in a shortened season, somebody that missed 20 or 30 games can be first team All-NBA. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Well,
if you're
then-
missing 20 or 30 games, you're missing a third of the season or more.
Absolutely.
Well, there were
I mean-
people arguing for Embiid for MVP over Jokic when Jokic played every single game and
Yeah.
Embiid missed 30 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was almost half
And
the season.
And by the way,
And Jokic
I'm a
played
big
every single
Embiid
game.
guy. I love Embiid.
Mm-hmm.
But Jokic was the clear MVP. Honest to God, I fully believe this. Jokic should be a unanimous MVP. And regardless to what ESPN and Fox and all these stupid asses on TV, Nick Wright, want us to believe, it has nothing to do with your career. He keeps trying to say, if we vote Jokic MVP, he'll be he'll have the worst career of anybody that's ever been voted MVP. And I'm like, this has nothing to do with his career.
Who cares?
It's a matter of who's the best this year.
Right, yeah. I mean, that's supposed to be the award. Who's the most valuable player this season?
Yes.
Who cares if he never has another great season?
That's right.
It's kind of like maybe not Cam Newton, but he had those 2 or 3 seasons right there. He was good, and the rest of the time he has. We'll see what he's doing now.
Yeah.
He's just average.
That's a good comparison. Actually,
Cam Newton
that's
went
good.
from average, great year, to below average.
Yeah.
Like he's not been consistently great for a long time.
And all the other main candidates, like we were just saying, missed time. Jokic didn't. And I think Jokic pulled away at the end of the season when he lost his second best player, which you can argue, I know you believe they're better without him, but he's probably usually considered their second best player with Murray, and he carried them to a really good record into the playoffs.
They're in the second round.
They're the third seed in the second round.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys know I love Dame. I've loved Dame for years, and Dame had a good year, but his team was a much lower seed. Statistically, he doesn't stack up to Jokic, and everybody else: LeBron, AD, Durant, Harden, Kyrie, Kawhi, Paul George. All these guys missed a lot of games. Embiid, Steph missed games.
Anthony Davis.
To be 100% honest, I honestly think it's ridiculous that Steph's even in the top 3. Yeah, they put they only allow you to vote for 3. Well, you're allowed to vote for 5, but only 3 can win. So you have to vote in the top 3 for who can win it, but you get 5 votes. So it's really kind of a stupid thing if you ask me. But my point is how did a team that missed the playoffs have an MVP?
It does get tricky though, because in a regular season he got them in the playoffs.
Yeah,
but then they messed it up with the play-in.
8 seeds don't get MVPs either.
But I mean, you're right. But technically, I mean, in a regular season, in every other NBA season outside of last year and this year, he would have made the playoffs.
Yeah.
So
And they might have been able to beat the Jazz.
Tricky.
To be honest, maybe.
I don't know. I thought after game 1, I thought Memphis had a shot to in that series, and then they got obliterated the next 4 games. No, I don't want to make this a big Steph Curry. I don't even have anything necessarily against Steph Curry in this instance. I'm just saying that he missed the playoffs. Yes, he won the scoring title, but does that mean Bradley Beal should have been in the MVP conversation last year?
Probably not. No.
Because statistically, he had a better year than Steph Curry last year. He averaged more points, more rebounds, and more assists, but we didn't even talk about it. Because winning the scoring title, if your team's garbage and you don't make the playoffs, isn't that big of a deal.
I mean, that's usually how it goes. A guy on a team that has to shoot 25 times usually gets the scoring title. But
I mean,
a lot of times.
I guess what it boils down to me is, and we'll get back off the MVP argument, is he averaged 31, 5, and 5. Steph Curry, I mean. How many times do you think we've seen that in a season? I'm not saying we see it all the time, but we've seen it quite a few times.
Jordan probably did 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Jokic was 26, 11, and 8.
Yeah.
How many times do you think we've seen that?
Not a lot.
Not too many.
And he shot 52% from the field.
Right. He just
And
had an
that's-
amazing season.
Yeah. You never see that.
He averaged 3 more assists a game than the point guard.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, I digress my MVP argument. But I don't even know why we're talking about the MVP anymore.
Yeah, we got real sidetracked from Gary
Yeah, I'm
Payton.
sorry. I just didn't mean to sidetrack everything, but
No, it's fine.
when I was doing my research for these last 2, I just kept coming up like, man, I gotta
Well,
talk to the guys about this.
Do you have any more before I move on?
Go ahead.
Okay. To return to something Wade said earlier with Frazier, I don't want to bring up. I don't have a bunch on the Frazier Payton stuff anymore because we did cover it pretty substantially in the Frazier episode. But one thing I do want you to think about is, like we said, Frazier played on a team full of Hall of Famers. Literally, like 4 other ones are on that team. Until the very end of his career, when Payton was garbage, can you name a Hall of Famer he played with?
I can name the Sonics team that was on the roster.
Yeah, but they don't have any Hall of Famers
No.
though.
But he had a good squad.
The Hall of Famer he played with before he went to L.A. and Miami was the last year of his career, Patrick Ewing.
Oh God, old Patrick Ewing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who was on some of those like middle of his career teams, because he got traded for Ray Allen, correct? And
Yes,
he went to the Bucks.
He went to the Bucks for a season.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He
He was like the Bucks this season, the Lakers this season, the Celtics this season, and then the Heat the last
the
season.
backup Miami run.
Yeah, because he played with an ass load of Hall of Famers on those last 4 stops.
Right, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were all like catching on the end of the roster, like
Trying to chase titles.
Yeah, trying to chase titles.
Him and
essentially,
Malone joined
The
Shaq and Kobe
Yeah.
there at the end,
Yeah,
trying to get
yeah,
that
yeah.
championship.
Right, and then
And
he
they
went.
lost to the
Then he went from there
Pistons.
to, like I said, Boston, where he played with 3 or 4 Hall of Famers, and then he went to L.A., where he again, or not L.A. I'm sorry, the Heat, where he again played with Shaq and
Right.
then D Wade.
Yeah.
So I mean, he played with a bunch of Hall of Famers those last few years when he wasn't any good anymore.
I mean, I get your point, and like I said in my opening little statement, I mean, Frazier obviously put on better teams, but I mean, I'm not going to discredit Frazier for winning championships at the same time.
Oh, I don't discredit his championships. I just think it is worth bringing up that.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
If-
I don't want to play the whole switch them positions and see what happens.
The
thing.
what if game that we play quite
Yeah.
a bit.
I mean, there is a lot of what if and what we're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, but
I will say this though: if Gary Payton would have gotten a championship like in his prime, I definitely would throw him above Westbrook, Frazier, and I'm not sure.
If he beats Michael.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
Michael.
yeah, 'cause that's what it comes down
Michael
to. You
messed
gotta
up
beat
a-
Michael.
yeah,
Yeah.
Michael messed up a lot of careers, but if he got a championship where he's the best player, the second best player, or whatever, I would definitely vault him up past Frazier, Westbrook. I'm not sure who my next one is, but he'd definitely be on my list for sure. But I mean, it's just kind of, I mean, how you, like Uncle Doug was saying earlier, he has really nice career totals that I'm sure other guys don't. Then there, Frazier has championships. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I have no problem with Peyton being on people's list, but I went with
like
a guy
Gary.
with championships. And Westbrook is kind of a cheat sheet when it comes to stats, so he kind of beats everybody in stats. But
You were
I don't
asking
know.
about players. Probably the best team Peyton played on was the 95-96 team. I think
that's the year they went to the championship.
Yeah,
right?
that's the year they went to the championship, lost to the Bulls. That was the year I think he was Defensive Player of the Year.
I believe you're right. Yeah.
Okay. So the guys he played with, it was him, Sean Kemp, Ray's guy, Detlef Shrimp.
He was good.
Remember
I
Detlef?
like Detlef. Yeah.
All right. Sam Perkins,
Mhm.
he was
Yeah.
the big guy.
The big smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hershey Hawkins and
Oh,
Nate
yeah.
McMillan.
Didn't
That's like the top 6
was
for the Sonics that year.
And he had Johnson. Johnson was a center.
Irvin Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
okay,
didn't
yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong? Didn't Dale Ellis come off the bench on that team? Wasn't he still in
Dale
the league?
Ellis.
I don't. Dale Ellis played out there some. I don't remember when though.
I have to look. I don't know. It just stuck out in my head that he did. I don't know why. Maybe I was completely wrong on that.
I don't think. No, I don't think so. I don't think Dale Ellis was on that Sonics team. Good old Hersey Hawkins. Yeah. But
Yeah. And Nate McMillan.
That
yeah.
team was very, very solid. At every position you looked, Perkins, solid. Kemp, all-star. Detlef, solid. Hershey Hawkins, solid. Peyton, Hall of Famer, of course. There was a really solid team. What they really needed was one more big-time guy.
Yeah, they need another Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
Like you
Yeah.
just said, that who else did he play with? He needed another Hall of Famer.
He
Yeah.
was missing
A lot of those teams that lost to Jordan were really good
They're
all-around
just that-
teams that just ran into Michael Jordan.
Here I
The
have.
Suns team was really good. Like the Sonics were really good. The Jazz were
Oh,
very
yeah.
good.
Yeah,
very
they-
good.
the Jazz had
Probably
two
should
Hall of
be
Fame.
champions. Like they just ran into maybe the greatest team ever. It's just not fair sometimes.
I have the roster pulled up. I'm gonna skip a couple guys because I don't. First off, I don't know who they are, and second off, I'm gonna screw their name up because they
yeah.
these big like Jewish names or something.
Uh,
Cheryl Ford, Hershey Hawkins, Irvin Johnson, Sean Kemp, Nate McMillan, Gary Payton, Sean Perkins, Steve Scheffler, Detlef Shrimp, Eric Snow as a rookie,
Yeah.
and
okay.
David Wingate.
Yeah, Wingate.
Oh,
yeah.
dang it. Yeah, didn't
Yeah.
he come out of Georgetown?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember him.
I remember old David. Yeah, he was good too. Good little sharpshooter.
Okay.
Solid team. I just, back to the Jordan thing.
Mm.
That's the one big argument that like a lot of people refuse to admit with Jordan, or at least LeBron fans refuse to admit to Jordan. Jordan just decided no other Hall of Famers from our era are going to win championships. Come try if you want, but I'm going to stop you. And
Yeah.
he shut it down. Like he
Yeah.
was just like, I'm going to go play baseball for 2 years. Olajuwon, you can have it. But when I come back, it's mine again.
Here's one of the best things I ever heard when it was like Chris Broussard arguing with Nick Wright about the Jordan LeBron conversation. And Nick Wright loves LeBron. He's hooping and hollering about his finals appearances and blah, blah, blah. And Chris Broussard goes, yeah, finals appearances. What LeBron did to one conference, Jordan did to the entire NBA. And it's game over. What are you going to say to that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's true.
Well, here's my thing. Like, when Nick Wright first came on the national scene, it was because Colin Cowherd really liked him, and he let him sub on his show when he went on vacation. And at that time, I watched Cowherd religiously. So I watched all those episodes with Nick Wright, and I really liked him. And he wasn't this big LeBron stan who compared everything to LeBron. And then slowly, he started, like, cock juggling for LeBron, and, like, every single thing is about LeBron now.
Yeah, they can talk about football and he'll come up.
Yeah, exactly. The Indians are in the World Series. Well, that's because LeBron changed the culture of Cleveland, so now they're winners.
It does get ridiculous
Okay.
sometimes.
Yeah, it's so asinine. So part of me thinks Nick Wright hasn't always been this way, and Nick Wright's not a moron. So this is an act. This is a ratings thing, and that's obviously not why we're here. But I've also looked into and read about Nick Wright's story and how he got to where he is, and fresh out of college, he was doing exactly what we're doing right now. And he started his own podcast, and he openly mocks himself and how terrible it was, but he needed those reps to get good to finally get on a radio station and then move his way up. So I don't want to completely sit here and turn this into a Nick Wright bashing session, but Nick Wright doesn't see reason, and his arguments are so flawed at times. Like, he was talking the other day, well, in the first 3 years in the NBA, Michael lost in the first round every year. And I'm like, but LeBron didn't make the playoffs his first 3 years in the league.
Michael also played Larry Bird and his whole squad.
And the Pistons and
And the
Magic
Pistons
and
bad
all
boys,
those
yeah.
guys.
Yeah, no, yeah, but I'm just like, the argument he always uses is, so you're saying it's better to lose in the second round than to lose in the finals? Because LeBron made more finals than Mike.
LeBron is the first person we ever counted finals losses as a positive.
Right.
Yes.
That's the God honest truth.
No, it is. But I'm saying the same argument works for this now. So you're saying not making the playoffs is better than losing in the first round? Like, Mike took his team to the playoffs. He just got beat by Larry and McHale and Parrish in the first round.
Right.
While LeBron was sitting at home. Again, I don't know how we got onto a LeBron-Michael conversation.
I don't know. It was I said a Nick Wright, Chris Broussard quote.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. We're tangenting today, guys. We're tangenting.
Poor Gary Payton's not getting the credit he deserves.
Well, I have a couple more stats over here, so I'm just going to spit them out because I took the time to look them up, so I'm going to use them. He's, we have 13 total point guards that made at least one of our lists. Gary Payton has the fourth most All-NBA teams out of those 13 point guards. Maybe I did say this one earlier. He's tied for first with the most all-defensive teams among point guards. I think I might have said that one earlier. But anybody... no, I'm not going to tell you. Maybe that'll be my trivia question later.
Okay.
Who he's tied with.
I didn't even hear what you said.
Thanks, Wade. Don't listen
No, it's all
to my
right.
points.
I was zoned out.
Let me ask. I have a question though, and I'm not trying to go anti-Gary because I do like Gary, and he has a cool nickname. But do you think Gary could have handled not being a number one?
I don't know. Maybe.
Like,
depending on who it is.
like if he, I'm not saying MJ because that would have just been crazy, but like if he would have gone to a team or somebody would have signed with them, I'm not trying to think of somebody in that. Say Mitch Richmond. We can all agree Mitch Richmond's probably a better scorer than
Yeah.
Gary Payton. Maybe not overall player, but a better scorer. Could he have allowed Mitch to get his and Payton play second fiddle?
I think it depends on the other superstar's personality. Because I think if like someone who like, if Michael Jordan walked in there, who was obviously alpha, and him and Gary Payton would just fight every day, all day.
I think so too.
If someone who had a
Yeah.
passive personality and Gary could still be Gary and be kind of the alpha leader guy, maybe not be the best player, I think that could work.
Yeah.
Another thing, do you think the way he played defense, do you think he could play today where he can't grab you and maul you all the way up and down the floor?
Well, I mean, the hand check went out in 96, and he was still, that was the year they made the finals.
Right.
But, I mean, he was still really, really good for quite a while after that.
Yeah. I mean, the NBA was still really physical.
I mean, it was physical, yeah, but, I mean, the hand check was
Yeah.
out. I think so. He was really athletic. He was quick. He was strong. By the way, we've talked about these basketball reference heights and weights a few times.
Mhm.
It has him listed at 180.
Really?
But while I was doing this, I went back and looked at went back and watched the draft he was taken in. And when they talk to him, they say the 6'4", 180-pound point guard. So I find it hard to believe that he was listed at 180 coming out of college and never put on any weight.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna guess that Gary was probably 205
Yeah.
somewhere in there, but when he was at the prime of his career. Because I mean, we're talking about MJ being 220, 225, 230, and if Peyton's able to guard him, I doubt he weighed 50, 60 pounds less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, most people pack on weight when they get to the pros. I mean,
Yeah,
they start
yeah.
lifting and get on certain programs. And
I mean, it
usually
also
how it
had
works.
Mark Jackson listed at 180, and I don't believe that for a
No,
second.
he's
So-
a good 230.
The size of an outside linebacker. Hefty. Some of these weights and heights on here are kind of crazy. Like this has like me and Kareem almost weighing the same, and he's like over a foot taller than me.
No, that is one thing that is crazy. Like big men from the 70s and 80s on Basketball Reference. Like it has McHale, 6'10", 210.
Yeah.
I weigh 210. Like Jabbar on here is 225, which I know he was skinny, but he's 7'2".
Right.
I'm 5'10". I weigh 210. That's
Yeah, I think of Jabbar as being more like 250.
yeah. They have Kobe is 10 pounds less than him
Yeah.
on
Maybe.
this. That's nuts.
No, I don't know where Basketball Reference does it. Maybe they do what I caught them doing with Gary Payton. I don't want to say caught like it's to like they're in trouble, but I mean like, is it what they came in the league at? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, they have. Okay, look at this. They got. I just lost him. Damn it. Oh, Pippen and Durant. They have Durant outweighing Pippen by 30 pounds. Pippen was pretty yoked. Durant is a beanpole, and
Yeah.
he outweighs Pippen by 30 pounds.
Yeah, I don't
Get
know
out of
about
here.
that.
I have
Yeah.
a hard time believing that.
Get out. Pippen was a big boy, a big athletic freak, and like 6'8", 6'9". I know Durant's a smidge bit taller, but he's obviously not as big as Pippen.
no, I don't believe that either.
And Moses Malone at 215. That was a big boy.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Again, Moses is a guy that came in skinny, but he
Yeah.
got much
Oh,
bigger.
yeah.
He got pretty husky.
He did.
He got real
big.
husky.
I mean,
Yeah.
no, Sean Kemp weight, but I mean,
Hey, that's what Taco Bell's for. You just put it on.
all right. So, does anybody else have anything Gary Payton wise?
I don't think so. I'm good.
No, I'm good.
So I have one more last question. Do y'all miss the Supersonics?
Yes.
Let me just say this: the Supersonics is my second favorite team of all time, behind the Pacers. So it goes Pacers, Supersonics.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of miss seeing the Supersonics.
I was barely around.
I watched them a lot when I was
I was
younger.
barely around, and I miss them.
Well, what?
To be honest.
KD was technically drafted by them and played
Yeah,
1 year
He
there.
played his rookie season
and
for
then
them.
they switched.
Yeah. No, I do. I used to like the Supersonics. I liked watching this team. The Peyton Kemp team was exciting as hell to watch. I liked their colors, the green and yellow. Plus, they had what is the name of that building that?
Key Arena.
No, I know Key
Yeah,
Arena, but I
yeah.
mean the building that used to be on some of their jerseys.
Oh,
You
the
know,
Space Needle.
Yeah, the Space Needle. Thank
Yeah.
you. You know, they had the Space Needle on some of their jerseys, and like it was just.
Crazy fans too. I mean, the fans
Yeah.
really supported them.
I mean,
That's the crazy thing
yeah.
to me. They were so supportive. They had sellouts, everything, and then it was like, we need a new arena. No, dog, can't have that.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to leave because the arena's falling apart. No, we ain't doing that. And they left, and it's like, no, don't get me wrong. Oklahoma City supports the shit out of the Thunder.
Oh yeah. they
So I
do.
can't knock the fans there. But I've always rooted for them to get a team again. Seattle, I
Yeah.
mean. Right now they're talking about somebody leaving their city. Who is it?
Oakland A's are going to Las Vegas supposedly here in a couple of years.
Oh, yeah, everybody's leaving Oakland.
Yeah, everybody's
yeah.
left Oakland.
Yeah,
But I feel like there's somebody, an NBA team that they're talking about leaving their city right now. And I was like, man, go to Seattle.
I want someone to go to St. Louis.
Well, me too.
That's all I
obviously
want.
somebody
I
to
want
go
a
to St.
St.
Louis
Louis NBA team.
Right,
Yeah.
just so you got an NBA team close.
And they have good fans. They've always supported the hell out of the Cardinals. And
Yeah.
even when the Rams suck,
They
someone
supported
supported
the
them.
Blues.
Hey, and they support the shit out of the Blues too.
Even
Yeah.
though
I
the
mean-
Blues just won their first one 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, and years ago they looked at about the time when Memphis, when the Grizzlies
Oh,
moved
yeah.
down, they
Mhm.
talked about going to St. Louis.
well,
And I actually got to go. They had a couple exhibition games, and they brought in Magic and the Lakers to play. I think it was the Supersonics. We got to see them play one year, and then we got to see Michael and the Bulls play. I think it was the Suns or somebody. And I mean, of course, it's all sold out. But of course, Magic and Michael, you're going to sell it out.
Now, I don't know the ins and outs of any of this stuff, so I may be talking out my ass, but the Cardinals had a lot of problems with St. Louis giving them a new stadium. And the Cardinals are like the beloved of the beloved around here. Do you think an NBA team can get a stadium built?
They were going to build one for the Rams. Before Kroenke built his $3 billion mammoth in L.A., St. Louis had a $1 billion option that they had approved, put a brand new stadium downtown. So they've got, of course, where the Blues play.
yeah,
And
that's
they
a
built-
nice arena,
they've
too.
got the
It
new
is very
arena
nice. I've been there a
for
few
St.
times.
Louis U. So there's a couple arenas downtown. I'd like to see them put one out a little ways like the old arena used to be. That was
Yeah.
a fun place to
Yeah.
go.
All right, so do we want to give our closing statements on GP and go to trivia?
Sure.
Yeah.
Want Wade and I to go first?
Yeah, go for it.
That's fine.
All right. Well, again, I really like Gary Payton. The Glove was a great player. I loved watching him play. Kuzi and Westbrook were my bottom two, and I just thought they snuck in ahead of him. But I have no problems with Gary Payton.
Pretty much the same. I know that's not very good arguing technique here, but I like Gary Payton. I don't have a problem with him being on the bottom of anybody's list. I almost put him on the bottom of my list. I've already explained why I went with Frazier and Westbrook. But I mean, he was a great player, great defender. One of the guys that was robbed by Jordan. Where he'd probably be on everyone's list for sure if he would have got a championship, probably. But he had the bad luck of going against OMJ. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Drew?
Well, I put Gary on my list because watching The Last Dance, I fell in love with Gary Payton. I've never seen him play a game, but just watching him, it's so funny. It's like, Coach, just put me on him. I'll guard him. Yeah, well, kind of did. Michael's going to do his stuff. And Gary Payton did stuff that other point guards didn't do, and that's part of the reason I put him on my list.
Real quick, I think I just read something today that he actually held Jordan to 42% in the NBA Finals,
Yeah, I
which
believe I
is
saw that too.
pretty impressive.
Speaking of while we're interrupting here, I'm a little surprised that you don't have Gary Payton, Wade.
Because defense?
Yeah, defense. bro.
Yeah. I don't know. I mix it up a little bit. I don't know.
All right, fair
But,
enough.
I mean, I have put Frazier, who has 7 all defensive teams
Yeah.
instead of him.
Ray?
I just like when a player brings a different aspect to the game. Like, he's good at defense, good scorer, good passer, but you got that trash talking ability, and it just throws players out the game. Like when you look at Reggie and you see 30 for 30, him going against Starks, and Starks just headbutts him in the face. Man, he got so mad. When Gary Payton trash talks and he is down to talk about your mama and your kids, that dude's serious, and I love that shit. And I just love Gary Payton for it. It's a competitive game back in the day, and everybody, you poke somebody in the elbow today, and they just be crying to the mama. And it just sucks. So, I love Gary Payton.
All right. Well, I agree with most of what all four of you guys said. I guess for me, it boiled down to being the greatest defensive point guard of all time. Plus, for 7 seasons, he averaged over 20 points a game. So he wasn't just a specialist. I know we talked about that in a couple other episodes where guys were, great at one thing and just didn't do the others. That's really what it boiled down for me. No, I do agree with what Wade said earlier that if he had a championship, this picture gets a lot clearer. He has a championship. I'm not trying to take that away from him, but not as a
starter,
as a star, even a starter, more as a star. So, I'm sure he's happy he got his ring, but not all rings are created equal, as I think we've said in past episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's another guy that I think also falls into the category. If he'd quit playing 3 years earlier, his at least per game numbers would be a lot more impressive. But he hung around looking for that ring for those last few years and drug his numbers down. So yeah, that will end the Gary Payton portion of this episode, and we will move on to the trivia portion of our episode. So who would like to go first?
I got my question.
All right, let's go, Drew.
It's a one-parter.
A one-parter?
It could be 2 parts, but I'm being nice.
Oh, boy.
All right. Who holds the postseason record for most steals in a single game?
Postseason record for
Talking
steals in a
about defense
game.
and Gary Payton.
Yeah, I like that. I like that, Drew. So goes right along with our night. I don't know the answer to it.
Wow.
I got mine.
Yeah, I got to guess.
Just the player. I'll tell you the total as well.
All right, I got mine.
Okay.
Okay.
Everybody?
Yeah.
All right. I got John Stockton.
I said AI.
But Jerry West.
I'll pick Paul George.
Allen Iverson with 10.
Wow.
Who said Iverson?
Me.
Uncle Dan?
Yeah.
10. Dang.
10 steals in the game. That's a night.
Yep.
Damn, that is a lot.
That's a lot
I
of
bet he still
passing.
didn't have a triple-double, though.
Probably not.
No.
Yep. All right, I haven't scored for a while. I needed that.
Yes. That would break a tie between you and I.
Oh, okay.
All right, who wants to go next?
I'll go as long as my thing loads up. Let's see here. This is gonna be a fun one. Let's see. Over the course of 90-91 season, how many players actually played for the Chicago Bulls? No, that's not the question. Of those 12 Bulls, can you name 6 of them?
What year was it again?
90-91.
Oh. 6 players, huh?
Yep.
Wow. 90-91 Bulls.
And this is, I would have to say, this is probably the easiest roster to remember.
Wow. I don't think we've had to name 6 people before.
Talk about my questions, guys.
I'm going to have to throw my mic at Ray here in a second. Damn.
Yeah, that's tough.
Everybody loves 6 names.
I can see people's faces, but some of the people I don't know.
I got 4 really fast, and then I slowed way
I got
the
3,
hell
and
down.
the 4th one I'm like, and these other 2 I'm like,
Yeah, I'm dying here.
I'm just gonna start naming bowls that I thought maybe played better than.
Okay, that's probably a good scientific thing.
I got mine.
Damn, I don't.
1 second, I need one more.
Wow.
Are we doing a time limit here? Okay. I'm just joking.
I'm not gonna make it. I can tell you that.
I gotta put something down. I've got 5. I gotta try at least.
Yeah, I've got 5 now, too. I got to get another one down here. Damn.
All right, I got my last one.
Don't be cheating, Drew.
I'm not looking at you.
Right next to me. I see you. Googly eyes wandering over here.
I'm cheating. You're looking off my board.
I'm just joking.
All right, I guessed a bowl on the last one. I'm not sure. I don't think I did well on this. Damn it.
All right, Alex is ready. Wade ready.
I'm ready.
Ready?
I'm good.
I know I got one,
I
Wade.
know mine are wrong, but I got some.
All right, you
If
ready
don't
for
get in
mine?
there, you got
Yep, go ahead.
Jordan, Pippen, Grant, Paxton, Armstrong, Purdue.
Okay.
I got Jordan, Pippen, Armstrong, Cartwright, Grant, Paxton.
Okay.
I got MJ, Oakley, Paxton, Pippen, Harper, and Grant.
Okay.
I got MJ, Grant, Barry, Pippen, Weddington, and Armstrong.
Okay. Now, don't erase nothing, because I did not remember what everybody wrote down. So I'm going to name off the 12 Bulls and just put a check mark, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Michael Jordan,
Okay.
Mr. Pippen, Mr. Horace Grant, Bill Cartwright, B.J. Armstrong, John Paxton,
All right.
Stacy King, Craig Hodges, Dennis Hobson, Will Perdue, Cliff Livingston, and Scott Williams. Rolls out to 12.
I got it.
I got it. I was surprised. I didn't think
4.
Purdue was on the team yet. I really didn't.
Yeah, I only got 4.
So Wade and I.
Yep.
So I just tied Uncle Doug back up,
Yeah, back at it.
and Wade extends his lead.
Yeah.
All right. I got one. Hang on 1 second. I honestly can't remember. I saved like 3 on my phone, and I can't remember if I used this one or not. So we're going to go for it. And if I've already used it, you can tell me.
By the way, shout out to Mark Tyler. He would be very disappointed that it took us that long to name the Bulls.
Okay. Everybody erased and ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Which expansion team was the first to win an NBA Finals?
Oh,
Ooh.
I feel like the
So is this
obvious
like
one.
the original like 8 teams, and which team after that? First
It
team
just- it
added
just
after
says
that?
Which was the first
Shoot.
expansion team to win an NBA
Oh,
Finals?
that's a tough one then. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah, that's.
First expansion.
No, I don't think you've asked this before.
No,
Okay,
you haven't
sweet.
asked this.
This is tough.
You go Spank team. You go with the one that
wow.
came from the ABA. You go the ones that slowly came in over the
Oh
time.
yeah, do the ABA teams count?
Would that be an expansion team?
I don't know. Is that? I don't think it is
I mean,
expansion because they.
That'd be more
That's a
Yeah.
merge
I'd
team.
call
I
that
would think,
merger.
yeah, merger.
Yeah.
I don't think that
Yeah.
would count.
Yeah, but I mean, there would have been teams added to the league before the merger.
Oh yeah, but I don't remember.
This could be anybody.
I mean, just
Wow.
go through the winners, NBA Finals winners in your head and think, oh, was this an original team or not?
Well, it sounds real fucking easy from your side of the argument.
It does indeed.
I'm gonna make a guess and
Oh my goodness.
go with it.
All right, I guessed.
Let's see.
Hold on, hold on.
Okay. Okay.
I'm ready.
I'm just gonna take a chance on this one.
By the way, Ray, you're throwing me off with all the stuff written on the other side of your board.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like, you're looking at the wrong side of your board, Ray.
yeah. That's for a different project I do on during
All
the
right,
week.
everybody got an answer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see it.
I got the Sonics.
Okay.
I said Heat.
Okay.
I said the Heat as well.
Okay.
I said Spurs.
It is the Baltimore Bullets.
Yeah.
Who won it the year before the Sonics?
Bullets. Yeah.
Damn it.
The unpolitically correct name.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, we can't talk about this anymore.
That's right.
So nobody got it right.
I don't think so.
All right. Well, I guess that would be me now, right? So my question is, as I spoke earlier, Gary Payton is tied for first place for point guards on all defensive teams. Can you name the 2 people he is tied with? Obviously, they're point guards.
Yeah. Do you mind if I look at my list?
Sure.
I think I know one for sure. A little iffy about the other one. All right. I'm fairly confident.
Yeah,
I'm
I got
fairly
one.
confident.
Okay, we'll go.
I'm
with
sure
these
you
two.
do, Uncle Doug. I'm sure,
I'm sure you do.
Just joking.
Uh,
God.
Inside
Here's one, I
jokes.
think.
Oh boy.
Is that everybody?
No, I gotta write the other one down. 1 second.
Get your shit together, Drew.
I'm trying. I'm
It's
sorry. I'm
Steph
not.
Curry.
I'm
Just
not
write it down.
No, it's not. Steph. I'm sorry. I'm not prepared like some of us. Okay, I'll just guess him.
If Steph Curry made that many all defensive teams, I think we all cry.
There's no way.
Trust me, he won't.
Yeah.
There's no way.
And that, yeah.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay.
All right.
I got Stockton and Kidd.
Stockton and Kidd.
I put Chris Paul and Kidd.
Ooh, that's a good one, Chris Paul.
I put
I thought-
Frazier and Stockton.
Mm-hmm.
Paul and Kidd.
Paul and Kidd.
Let's go.
The
Stockton?
Laker fans are correct.
Stockton didn't get 9? Damn.
Paul and Kidd. Wow.
I could see Chris Paul getting 9.
It
I'm
would.
down.
If Chris Paul makes it this year, which is possible, he'll take the lead.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, he'll get his 10th one.
I was confident in that answer too. Dang.
So
Okay.
what you said you had you said when you had one, Wade, you said I'm confident this is it. Who was that, Stockton?
It was. That was the wrong answer.
All right, fair enough.
I guess I'm the only one left. Okay, the glove had 9. He's tied with Paul and Kidd. There is one other guard who has 9, and he is sometimes considered a point guard, but sometimes not. Who is he?
Sometimes considered point guard. Sometimes he's not.
Wow. Only. Oh wow.
What other guard played good defense?
I
just named the 2 other ones I thought.
wrote one down because I'm pretty sure I've heard someone reference him running the point a couple times, so I'm going to go for it. But it could be way off.
I'm drawing a blank over here.
It's when I was looking something on Gary Payton, I did see a list with guards and defense, but I don't know if this name sounds like totally not even right. I
I don't even know if I want to.
I'm gonna put his name.
write
down,
this
'cause I don't
down.
even know.
Wait. When did all defensive stuff start? Teams.
69. We went over this in one of the episodes. It's really early, but it's not like koozie or nothing.
Yeah.
I think it's 68 or 69, something like
Yeah.
that.
Sometimes the point guard, sometimes he's not.
Yeah, I know. That part threw me off more than the other. I thought I had a guess in my head until you said that.
I just wrote down this guy's
Okay.
name that I saw with Peyton's on some defensive name.
Okay.
I was looking up.
Well, that's what when you saw me looking on my phone, I was checking to make sure, and they list him as point guard / scoring guard.
Slash.
I like my first answer, but
I
I
got a
don't.
guess.
I think it's too early.
It's just a guess. Everybody
Everybody
else got theirs?
Yeah.
Everybody ready?
Yeah.
All right, go
All right.
for it.
I got Dumars.
I put Sidney Moncrief.
Bobby Jones.
I put Kawhi Leonard.
I originally thought Jerry West.
DJ. Dennis Johnson.
With the
Yeah.
Because when I first looked up this trivia, it had Paul, Kidd, and DJ all listed with 9. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, there's 4 of them. And then one of the things said only 3 point guards. I'm thinking, well, what about DJ? And then they list him as both.
Because I mean, I guess Danny Ainge would have ran the point for a while, didn't
Part
he?
of the time, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh.
and then when he was in Seattle, he was their leading scorer.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah,
DJ had really good in Seattle.
And Phoenix, too. Seattle. Yeah, he was in Phoenix for a while, too, wasn't he? Or
I'm not sure. I just know he was a good player.
Did Jerry West run the point for off and on?
He did a little bit of everything.
A little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the first guy that popped in my mind.
A lot of times, Joe
Jerry.
Goodrich there at the end was
Mm.
doing that, and Hot Rod Hundley. Some Grandpa loves Hot Rod Hundley.
Yeah, I can imagine. Sounds like someone Grandpa would love.
Yeah.
all right. So after this week, the point totals are as follows: Ray with 13. By the way, Ray, you've only scored 1 week since I've started keeping score on this piece of paper, and that week you scored twice. It's like you had a multiple score week, and then you're like, I'm not going to score for 6 or 8 weeks.
Hey, shit happens.
Alex with 28, Doug with 29, Drew with 31, and Wade with 36.
All right.
You just can't catch Wade.
I hope not. That is the goal.
Well, that is the end of our Gary Payton episode. Please join us next week for Dennis the Worm Rodman, who will be defended by Wade, Ray, and Drew. A rare episode where Doug and I are on the same team, and we're solo on this team, so no third party for us. All right, well, we appreciate your listen, and please tune in again for Sports the Nemo Way.